Morning, friends. Today we will discuss class ninth Geography, chapter number 6, Population. In this chapter, we will learn the uneven nature of the population distribution and so concerned about the large size of our population. We will learn the various occupation of the people and explain various factors of the population changes. And in this chapter, we will learn the dimension of the national population and understand the needs of the adolescent as per third group. So, what are the learning outcomes of this chapter? In this chapter, by learning this chapter, we will be able to know the distribution and size of the population and what is the occupational structure of country and need of population control and develop an attitude of gender equality and the importance of literacy and health on the quality of population. And by reading this chapter, we will learn the habit of balanced diet and good moral values. What is population? Population means the people interact with resources and create social and cultural environment. That means the population as a resource, he is creating the social and cultural environment. And the people, they are resources, they have the different type of the qualities, and the population is the important element in social science. There are resources, calamities, disasters are all meaningful only in relation to the human being. I am giving one example to you of the Japan. In Japan, there are so many calamities and disasters are there, but the people of the Japan, they are facing the problem, but people are resources, so they can change their lives by their skills, and calamities and disasters are nothing for them. And their numbers, the distribution and growth characteristics or qualities provide basic background for understanding and appreciating all aspects of environment. And there is one topic, census. What is census? Census is an official enumeration of population done by periodically. In every 10 years, government decide to take the census of the country, and it is the comprehensive source of demographic, the total population, what is the cultural, what is the social and economical background of the people. They all the things they know by the census. And we know that the first census was held in 1872. First census was taken in the year 1881. In this chapter, we will know the major questions about the population. What are the major questions? Population can be understood by three factors. First one is the population size and distribution by the numbers, by the density. What is the total population? What is the density of that particular area, particular country? In first point, population size and distribution. And second point, population growth and processes of population changes. In this topic, we will discuss what is population growth, what are the processes of population changes and growth. Third one is the characteristics or qualities of population. In this topic, we will learn the age composition, sex ratio, literacy rate, occupational structure and health. India, population size and distribution by numbers. As we know, on March 2011, the total population of country was 121 crore. That means it was the world population 17.5%, and 1.21 billion people are unevenly distributed over our country's vast area of 3.28 million square kilometer. The total area of the country is like the is 2.4% of the world's area according to census data 2011. Uttar Pradesh has the near about 199 million population. You know, Uttar Pradesh is the most populous state in India. Sikkim is the state which has only 0.6 million size of the population. Lakshadweep has only 64,429 people. Almost half of the India's population lives in just 5 states. We will know the 5 states are there: Uttar Pradesh, Maharashtra, Bihar, West Bengal, Andhra Pradesh. These 5 states are there. They have India's almost half of the population. And we know the Rajasthan is the biggest state in terms of the area. The biggest state in the terms of area is Rajasthan. It has only 5.5% of the total population of India. One interesting fact is there. Every year our population increase like as Australia. That means we are increasing as a Australia in 1 year. Second thing, India's population distribution by density. What is density? Density is the number of person residing in per square kilometer area. And we know that the population density of India in the year 2011 was 382 person per square kilometer. That means in 1 square kilometer area 382 persons were residing. It varies from area to area. That means some states are densely populated and some states have very less density of the population. As we know that Bihar is the densely populated area in India. The total density of Bihar is 1102 person per square kilometer. And in Arunachal Pradesh, only 17 person per square kilometer they are residing in Arunachal Pradesh. That means in 1 square kilometer area only 17 person are residing. And if we see that Bangladesh and Japan, two countries are there, Bangladesh and Japan, they have the high average population densities than India. Only Bangladesh and Japan. State below the population density 250 person per square kilometer. That means those states population density is near about 250 person. They have rugged terrain and unfavorable climatic conditions. That means the climate condition is not good, and they may be the mountainous region and the plateau region, and the climatic conditions are very harsh. But in the northern plains and in Kerala, in the South India, they have high to very high population densities. That means in northern plain and in Kerala, more people are residing in 1 square kilometer because of there is flat plains, agricultural land is available, climatic conditions are good, fertile soil is there, and abundant rainfall is there. Transportation system is developed. So population is attracting in those places. Now we will discuss the population growth and processes of population changes. Population growth is a dynamic phenomenon. That means it is continuously changing. It is decreasing or increasing. So we can say that population growth is a dynamic phenomenon. There are three things we should know birth, deaths, and migration. Later we will discuss these things. So we should know what is population growth. Population growth is change in the numbers of inhabitants of a country. That means in the country the number of inhabitants are changing during a specific period of time. That means suppose I am saying that in one place now population is 1 crore. After 1 year or 2 years, the population will increase or population will decrease. So we can say that population growth is a dynamic phenomenon. We can express that change in two ways. First one is the absolute numbers. Second one is the percentage. Absolute number means that means that every year population is increasing. So rate or the pace of population growth. It studies the percent of population increase per annum. That means annually the population is increasing. How much population is increasing? That is called annual growth. Suppose in 100 people, 2 people are increasing. Later we will discuss. So we can say that this is the annual growth of the place. Annual growth rate may decline, but absolute number, that means absolute number would always increase. We will learn this thing by the example. We know that since 1981 growth rate declined but the absolute number increased. In this table we will see the magnitude and rate of India's population growth year wise. 1951 total population is 361 billion. Absolute increase in the decade, that means in 10 years the population increased 42.43 million. And what is the annual growth rate? Annual growth rate is 1.25. In 1961 439.2 absolute increase, that means 78.15. Annual growth is 1.96. If you see in 2001 the total population is 1028.7 million. Absolute increase in the decade is 182.32. Annual growth rate is 1.93. You will see the annual growth rate is declining by the 1981. In 1981 this is 2.22. Then it became in 1991 2.14, and in 2001 it becomes 1.93. 1.93, and in 2011 the total population in million is 1210.1. Absolute increase in the decade is 181.4. You will see the absolute increase is increasing and annual growth rate is decreasing. In 2001 1.93%, and in 2011 1.64. That means how many people are increasing annually? In 100 people, near about, here we will see in 1991 2% are increasing, and we will see in 2001 and 2011 that annual growth rate is declining, 1.93 in 2001, and 2011 it is 1.64%. Processes of population changes and growth. In this topic we will know there are three main processes of change of population: birth rate, death rate, and migration. What is birth rate? Birth rate is the number of live births per 1,000 person in a year. That means in 1,000 person how many there are live births. Birth rate always been higher than the death rate. Understand? What is the birth rate? Birth rate is the number of live births per 1,000 person in a year, and birth rate always been higher than the death rate. And what is the death rate? It is the number of deaths per thousand persons in a year. That means in a year how many people died in 1 year per thousand. Third one is migration. What is migration? Migration is the movement of people across regions and territories. Migration can be internal within the country. Suppose any person is going for bread and butter, they are moving from one place to another within the country. That is called the internal migration. And what is the international migration? People are going to the abroad. That means they are living in India. So this type of migration is called the international migration. Impact migration of the population. That means what is the impact of the migration? And we know that there is two type of the migration: internal migration and international migration. In internal migration, there is no change in the size of the population, but it influences the composition and the distribution of the population. Migration is mostly rural to urban areas because of push and pull factors. There are two factors: push and pull factors. What is push factor? In rural areas, there is poverty and unemployment is there. So people are moving to the urban areas for the employment opportunity, for the better living conditions. So this is called the pulling factor. And what is pushing factor? Poverty, due to unemployment, they are moving to the urban areas. Push and pull factors. Migration. Migration on population size as well as on the population composition in urban and rural areas. It changes the size in the urban and the rural areas. You will see some people are going to rural to the urban areas, so the size is changing. One example is there: the urban population has increased from 17 to 17.29% of the total population 1951 to 31.80% in 2011. That means it was 17.29% in 1951 and it increased to 31.80% in 2011. There has been a significant increase in the number of million cities. What are the million cities? That means the more population is there, more than 10 lakh people are there. So in 2001 there were 35 million plus cities at, and it has been increased in 2011 to 53 numbers. Now we will discuss about the age composition. What is the age composition? The number of people in different age groups in a country. This is called the age composition. A person's age influences what he needs by, does, and his capacity to perform. Age composition determinates of the population's social and economic structure. It is determinates of the population's social and economic structure. The age has been divided into three categories. There are three categories. First one is the children, working age, and aged people. Who are children? Generally below 15 years, they are called children. They are economically unproductive, and in working age 15 to 59 years, that means they are economically productive and biologically reproductive. So this working age 15 to 59 years, that means they are working, that's why it is called the working age population. And third one is aged population, aged group above the 59 years, exceptionally economically productive. Sometimes they are productive, but most of the cases we will see that the above the 59 years they are not productive. They are not available for the employment through recruitment. In this diagram we will see in the blue color it is showing the adult 58.7%, aged are near about 7% and children are 35%, approximately 35%. The percentage of children and aged affect the dependency ratio because these groups are not producers. They are dependent to working population. They are dependent to the working population, children and aged people. They are dependent because they are not the producers. What is sex ratio? Number of females per thousand males in the country. Number of females, that means in 1000 males how many females are there, this is called the sex ratio. There are some important social factors. We will see equality between male and female. Sex ratio has always unfavorable to females, that means females are less than the males. What could be the reasons for the such variations? There are so many reasons. Insecurity is there, and but in Kerala, if we see the sex ratio is 1084 females per thousand males. Puducherry has 1038 females for every 1000 males. That means 1000 males are there and 1038 females are there. It is surprising that in Delhi it is only 866 females per thousand males. It is very less. And in Haryana also it is just 877. Sex ratio 1951 to 2011. In this table we will see the census year is 1951 to 2011. In 1951 the sex ratio was 946. That means in 1000 males 946 females were there. If you see in 2011 it is 943. 943. Government is thinking to increase the sex ratio. Government is doing the efforts to increase the sex ratio because female are also very much important in the society. Now we will discuss the literacy rate. At first we have to know that who is literate. A person aged 7 years and above who can read and write with understanding of any language, he is known as literate. That means a person of the 7 years and above who can read or write and understanding any language, that is known as the literate. But in society we have to know and inform that educated citizens can make the intelligent choices and undertake research and developmental projects. So education is required in the society. Low level of literacy are a serious obstacle for the economic development because if there is no education, literacy level is very less, so we cannot do the research and developmental projects. In India, literacy rate is, as per the census 2011, this is 73%. 73% literacy rate. Out of 100 people, only 73% are literate. Out of 73, 80.9%, near about approximately we can say 81%, these are female males, and only 65% for the female. Now we will discuss the occupational structure. What is occupational structure? The distribution of population according to different type of occupation is referred as occupational structure. It explains where and how much population is engaged, what which type of activities they are doing. They are working in the primary sectors or secondary sectors or tertiary sectors. As we know that there are three sectors: primary, secondary and tertiary. In primary sectors we include the animal husbandry, agriculture, forestry, fishing, mining and quarrying, etc. In secondary sectors it is also called the manufacturing sector, building and construction works. All these activities we include in the secondary sector. Tertiary sector is it includes the transport, communications, commerce, administration and other services. So it is called the service sector also. And we know the proportion of people working in different activities in developed and developing countries. In developed countries, most of the population, most of the people are working in secondary and tertiary activities, but in developing countries, higher proportion of workforce is engaged in the primary activities. What is the situation in India? In primary sectors, 64% population, secondary sectors, 13% population, tertiary sector, 20% population, they are engaged. And very much important topic is their health. What is health? Health is an important aspect of the life. It affects the process of development. As we know, the healthy population will contribute more in the development. Government program have registered significant improvement in the health condition of the India's population. Decline in death rate by the medical facilities. This is our target, to decline in death rate. Life expectancy at birth has increased from 36.7 years in 1951 to 67.9 years in 2012. By the medical science progress, our life expectancy has been increased near about 68 years in 2012. It has been increased. And there is improvement in public health, prevention of infectious diseases, application of modern medical practices in diagnosis and treatment of ailments. Despite considerable achievement, we have done achievement, but there are some challenges in securing better health conditions, such as the per capita calorie consumption is very much below at the recommended level. That means poverty is there. Per capita calorie consumption is less. Large population is suffering from malnutrition. Malnutrition is there, and we know in rural population, one third rural population, there is no safe drinking water. There is no basic sanitation amenities are there. So there is a required thing. An appropriate population policy is needed to we tackle these problems. What are the problems? We have to tackle these problems, so we required a population policy. Before knowing this thing, we have to know that what is the adolescent population. Who are adolescent? The population grouped in the age group of 10 to 19 years, those are called the adolescent population, 10 to 19 years. As we know, the adolescent population contribute one-fifth of the total population. Adolescent population is most important for the future. So the adolescent population, what are the required thing? Nutritional requirement of adolescents are higher than those of the normal child or adult. This is the growing age. So nutritional requirement is required. Poor nutrition can lead to deficiency and stunt growth. If there is no proper calorie consumption, there is no diet, good diet, so there will be so many things, deficiency, and the growth will be stunned. So inadequate nutrition in Indian diet Due to an insufficient and improper diet, a large number of girls suffer from anemia. They are not getting proper calorie, they are not getting proper food, balanced diet is not there. So large number of girls are suffering from anemia. The adolescent girls have to sensitized to the problem they confront. Awareness among them can be improved through the spread of literacy and education. Now, what is national population policy? Planning of families would be improve individual health and welfare. In national population policy, it was included the planning of families would improve the individual health and welfare. Government of India initiated a comprehensive family planning program in 1952. In 1952, it was started the family planning program. Family welfare program has sought to promote responsible and planned parenthood on a voluntary basis. National Population Policy 2000. What is National Population Policy? A policy which include the something in this policy provide a policy framework imparting free and compulsory education to 14 years of age. That means that up to 14 years there is free and compulsory education should be there. Reducing infant mortality rate. What is infant mortality rate? That means that below the age of 1 year the child death. This is called infant mortality. So reducing infant mortality rate below 30 per thousand live births. This is the one program. Achieving universal immunization of children against all vaccine preventable diseases. The diseases which we can prevent from the vaccine. So government is using the immunization of the children and promote delayed marriage for girls, making family welfare a people-centered program. That means it should not be imposed to the people, it should be people-centered program. They have to be very much aware about the family planning program. National Population Policy 2000 and adolescents. And we know the national population policy and we know the adolescents. What is the relation? National population policy identified adolescents as one of the major section. Why? Adolescent population is the future of the country. A healthy, educated and skilled adolescent means a healthy, educated and skilled population. If there, as we know, as a human resource, the three things are required: education, health and skill. So in future, they will work for the development. Taking adolescents into consideration, NPP 2000 focuses on the following things: prevention from unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted diseases, STDs. This is the NPP program, prevention from unwanted pregnancies and sexually transmitted disease, STD, encouraging delayed marriage, strengthening legal measures to prevent child marriages and childbearing, educating adolescents about the risk of unprotected sex, making contraceptive services accessible and affordable, providing food supplements, nutritional services. That means government is thinking about the population of India. So in NPP 2000, all these things are the government is doing, government is planning. People are the nation's most vulnerable resource. A well educated, healthy population provides potential power. That means human resource. So this is the good thing by the government. They are thinking about the people as a human resource. Thank you very much.